Dulkin. Hazzan Joanna Dulkin serves Adath Jeshurun congregation in Minnetonka, Minnesota. She is a vice president of the Cantors Assembly and served on the editorial committee for the conservative movement's Siddur Lev Shalem. She recently completed her yoga teaching certification. We're about to experience yoga for Yids, a Shavuot yoga flow. Thank you, Hazzan Dulkin.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Chag Sameach, almost. I hope you can all hear me okay. Yes? Just want to make sure. I am going to just adjust slightly so you can see my entire mat. So this is going to be a class for everyone. So in case you think yoga is not for me, check and make sure that you have a body. Check. And check and make sure that you are here. Check. Okay, great. Yasher Koach, yoga is for you. And I encourage you during this time to take time that is not concerned with what else is happening in the world at this very moment. So as we prepare to get together at Mount Sinai later this evening for me in Minnesota, and maybe right now you're standing right at the foot of Mount Sinai, I invite us just to take in what is happening in our experience. We are always waiting for the next thing, right? We're thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow in the next moment. And it's probably pretty challenging to think about right now, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to our own bodies and be in our own experience. I will be practicing along with you because on Zoom, I can tell you what to do, but it's also good to have the visual. That being said, if something hurts, don't do it. If something feels uncomfortable, don't do it. Try something else, right? This is a time for us to listen to the revelations that are happening in our own bodies. So I invite you to find a seat somewhere. You can be in a chair. I'm on the floor propped up on a pillow. You can also use a yoga blanket or a towel propped up underneath your seat. And we're just going to think for a second about sitting well. So often we're crouched over our keyboards or our phones. So just thinking about elevating the crown of the head, about bringing the shoulders down, right? And see if you can relax your shoulders even a little more, taking a deep breath. And as you exhale, just let those shoulders drop a little more. Your hands can be on your legs, palms up, palms down. Feeling if you can even get a little bit more length in your spine, I invite you to do that. And if you're sitting on a chair, it helps to sit on the very edge of your chair. So you're not leaning against anything and inviting your back to curve. Just really thinking about shining the heart forward. So sit well, as one of my teachers said. And just check in with the Torah of your own body in this moment. If you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. And if that doesn't feel safe, you can just focus on a point right, maybe about the tip of your nose. And check in with your breathing. Check in with the inhale and the exhale. And be an observant Jew. See if you can observe your breath as it enters and exits your body. Feel your body fill with air as you inhale. And feel your body contract as you exhale. Take a few deep breaths and see if you can lengthen both the inhale and the exhale. And maybe finding those places in your body that might need a little bit more love, a little bit more chesed. And see if you can breathe into those spaces. Where are you feeling expansive? Where are you feeling tight? Where is the Torah of your body readily revealing itself to you? And where do you need to look a little bit deeper? Checking in first with our body, starting with the top of our head, bringing light and awareness to the little space between the eyebrows, relaxing through the cheekbones, the jaw. Moving down, inhaling into the shoulder girdle, widening the heart, opening up the shoulders. Inhaling, exhaling into our trunk, into the ribs, the belly, bringing light and breath. And now focusing on your hips, on your legs, the knees, the ankles, and the feet. Taking just a minute to check in with your body and what is being revealed to you in this moment. I invite you to bring one hand to your heart and place the other on top. Breathe deeply into your palms. You might even feel your heart beating underneath. Take a moment to offer yourself some chesed, some overflowing love. Take a minute to forgive yourself for whatever it may be. Can you relax a little bit more? And when you're ready, you can bow your head slightly, chin to chest. Gently open your eyes. And come back into this time together. So in a moment, we're going to start an active practice. And the awareness that we're going to keep in our mind for this practice, it's short and sweet, is this idea of our bodies being an embodiment of Torah. What is it that our bodies are teaching us? How do we infuse ourselves with awareness of this moment? And how do we bring an awareness of God into our movement? If we were to move so purposefully that we would feel with every inhale and exhale, this recreation and the reanimation of our bodies in the image of God. And so I have a visual right behind me. You can see this. This is in B'Shem Omra, my teacher, Rabbi Miriam Klotz. We have the letters of God's name, okay? And we have the human body. And when you stack the letters of God's name, the tetragrammaton, one on top of the other, you have the form of the human body. So what do I mean? First, the Yud. The Yud is the head and the neck, sitting atop this incredible stack of letters. And when we have this Yud awareness, this Yah awareness in our head and neck, we are thinking about lifting up towards the heavens. So Yud, head and neck. Then the first Hey. The Hey is shoulder girdle, arms, and hands. So I'm aligning the Yud in the middle of the Hey of my shoulder girdle, arms, and hands. Then we have the Vav. The Vav, which is the straight and also naturally curved spine. Your spine actually starts at the base of your skull and gets all the way down to the base of your tailbone. Your spine, your Vav, reaches and connects heaven and earth, connects our head, our top portion of our body to the bottom portion of our body. And so the Vav is what can hold it all together. So when we think about that Vav energy, we think about lengthening as much as possible that spine. And then the lower Hey, the hips and the legs, ankles and feet. So as we practice today, I invite you to think about that Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, and think about what is being revealed to me in this moment by my body. What about God is being revealed to me in this mindful, purposeful movement that we'll engage in together? So if you have a blanket or a block, you can move it to the side. And we're going to meet on our mats in hands and knees. And if you have sensitive knees, you can always fold up a blanket. I'm big on comfort, by the way. And same too, if you're staying up all night studying, I hope you have lots of pillows and neck things with you, and get comfy, because you're not going to learn a lot of Torah if you're not comfy. So you can spread out a yoga blanket for your knees and have a nice little padding there. So we're going to just find hands and knees here. And you're going to want to make sure that your shoulders are lined up under your wrists, that your hips are lined up over your knees. And if you want, when I say tuck the toes, this is what I mean. You can also leave the toenails flush to the mat. And this is a little bit more of an active hands and knees pose. This is a little bit more of a restorative. So you're going to want to push through the mat. Think about each finger having a suction cup and reaching down into the mat and finding energy here. And I want us to bring awareness now to the yud, to the head. Our gaze is down at the mat. Our neck is neutral, so we shouldn't feel any pulling this way or this way. Just that really nice long neck. And I want you to bring awareness now to the vav of your spine, and just see if you can find ease in the spine, even as you bring energy down to the mat. Breathe into this, and this is what we call neutral spine. There is a slight curve, and that's okay, but this is what we say when we have neutral spine. So in a minute, we're going to just inhale and move our spine around a little bit. So inhale, you're going to drop your belly, hips lift, and you're gazing at the ceiling. Exhale, curl and round the back. Gaze at the belly. Inhale, lift the head, drop the belly, cow pose. Exhale, round the back. See if you can articulate one vertebrae at a time. Gaze at the belly. And flow through this for a few breaths on your own. Slow is better. Just finding a flow and let your breath take you. You can also do this. So if you're doing this on hands and knees, keep going. If this is beyond you at the moment, you are welcome to sit in a chair. So sit in a chair. You can do this seated. Simply hands to your knees. Inhale. Lift. Exhale. Round. Inhale. Lift. Exhale. Round. Beautiful. So now find your neutral spine once again. Hands and knees. And you're welcome to stay here. Or if you want a little bit of extra fire, if you're needing a little extra fire on that mountain, everyone tuck the toes, press into those hands, and lift those knees 1 inch off the floor. Breathe in. Let the fire build. Kolot uvrakim, here they come, the thunder and the lightning. And knees down. And if you're comfortable, press back, hips back, over your feet and stretch into a child's pose. So this should feel restorative. If you're comfortable, your forehead can come to the mat. If not, you can make a pillow for your hands and rest one cheek or the other as you just sit back. This child's pose is our home base. So if there's anything that is feeling too much today, just feel free to come back and rest here in child's pose. It's a long night, 40 days, 40 nights, long time to wait. You have time for child's pose. All right, so we're going to come back up into hands and knees, and we're going to try that cat-cow one more time. So Inhale, drop the belly, lift up, gaze at the ceiling. Exhale, look at the belly. Come back to neutral. And if you're ready, tuck the toes, lift up those knees, and see if you can lift them for 3 breaths, building up that fire. One more breath. Exhale, put the knees down, come back into your cow. Exhale, cat. And back into our child's pose. Beautiful, just beautiful. All right. So we're going to find ourselves together. We're going to join at the top of our mat. And as I said in this introduction, or maybe somewhere I wrote an introduction, we are moving towards the mountain. We are moving towards the mountain. Why? What are we doing? Who are we meeting? Oh my goodness, we better get there. We better get there. So in yoga, we actually have a pose called mountain pose. And this will be for our standing sequence. This will be our home base for our standing sequence. That being said, if you would like to go back into child's pose at any time, please do so. These are suggestions. These are not commandments. Does that make sense? All right. So I'm going to ask you to stand at the top of your mat, but I'm going to, for visual, I'm going to face you because we're going to ground first into mountain pose. So mountain pose, or in Sanskrit, Tadasana, is traditionally feet together. Tonight and today, I'm going to ask you to place your feet on the mat at the same distance that your hips are. So if you're not sure what that means, you can take 2 fists, put them together, and just measure between the 2 arches of your feet. If you have 2 fists between the arches of your feet, that is approximately the distance between your hips, translated to between your feet. Why is this so important? We want to make sure that we have a solid foundation for all of our standing poses. And later on, we may do some balancing, spoiler alert, but for right now, we're looking for stability. And stability, as we know, comes from a strong foundation. So I invite you at this time to just look down at your feet and see if you can ground through the ball mound of your foot. So that is, if you were wearing high heels, right? That's where the bulk of your weight would go, and lift up the toes and really press into the ball mound. And now release and put your toes back down. And now bring awareness to your heels. Maybe even bring the body weight, right, a little bit back. So you're allowing yourself to tip back just a little bit and bring some awareness to your heels. And maybe you're gonna be a swaying mountain for just a minute. Just bringing awareness to the bottom half of your body. Don't worry about what your arms are doing yet, right? And find a place of stillness and groundedness here. So you want to be pressing ideally equally into the 3 corners of your feet, the outer end, the outer edges, the inner edges, and the heel. And feeling really grounded, now I want you to engage the muscles on the fronts of your legs and just feel how much stronger now this foundation feels. And now maybe you want to engage the muscles, your glute muscles, otherwise known as your tush, right? Engage that tush, and now release. Now bringing awareness once again to the vav of our spine, really grounding into mountain pose. So feel your spine expand and get longer, even as you're not even externally moving. This is an internal thought. So we're expanding our spine. We're bringing our shoulders away from our ears, bringing awareness to the head, the crown of our head, as it lifts up, and as our feet move towards the ground, almost like our feet are sprouting roots. And if you're comfortable, bring your hands to your sides and your palms facing in. Energy through the fingertips. And breathe into this powerful mountain. What is being revealed to you in this moment? So staying in our mountain at the top of our mat, and I'm going to join you here. We're going to inhale, lift our arms up over our heads. Bring our palms together over our head and just gently back to our heart and down. Try that again. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart, all the way through and down. And now we're going to add a forward fold. So inhale, up, arms overhead. You can bring your hands together. And as you exhale, you're hinging at the waist and bringing your upper body down as much as you can to meet your lower body. You can bring your hands to the floor, to your shins, to your knees. Bring a bend to your knees. See if you can elongate the spine as you fold forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. It's okay to bend the knees. It's not cheating. Okay, now, if you are able, hands to your shins, elongate the spine, look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale back down into our forward fold. Plant your fingers on the mat and bring your right leg back and bring your left leg back and find your plank. Exhale, knees down. Push back into child's pose. Rest. Inhale up into our all fours position. We're back here. This time, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, and find your first downward facing dog of our practice. So here we are, down dog. So if this is part of your practice, feel free to, as I say, take your dog to the dog park, right? Walk. You can pedal out your feet. You can shimmy your hips, right? Try to see if you can get even more length in your spine in this downward facing dog. And when you're ready, inhale, look up between your hands and walk in very small, nice baby steps up to the front of your mat and find your forward fold once again. Inhale, look up, lengthen, back down into our forward fold. And inhale this time, pressing into the feet all the way up. Hands up over your head. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a minute here. See if you can feel the beating of your heart. What is your body revealing to you in this moment? Where is the heat building? Where is the resistance, if any? Where is the freedom? Right, we're going to take that again. Inhale, arms up and over your head. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, back into your forward fold. Inhale, right leg back. Left leg back and find your strong plank. Shoulders above your wrists, pushing out through the heels, finding that energy. And this time, I want you to press up and back, straight up and back. You might have to step your feet in a little bit and find your downward facing dog. We're going to dynamically move between dog and plank. If this is not in your practice, you're welcome to stay here, or come into child's pose. I'm going to demonstrate a couple different ways to do this. But from our dog, we're going to exhale. And as we inhale, we move forward into plank. You can always bring your knees down here. Totally great. No problem. Exhale back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Tightening through our entire lower body. Exhale up into downward facing dog. Let's take two more. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. You're doing great. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. And when you're ready, this time inhale, look between your fingers, between your arms and your hands, and walk into that forward fold. And when you're ready, hands to your calves, hands to your shins, look up and lengthen. Exhale into forward fold. And your next inhale, come all the way up gently. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a minute. Take a few breaths here. You can bring your hands to your heart, your palms like you did before. Feel the aliveness in your body in this moment. Feel the blood moving. Feel maybe the heart pumping. Feel the strength of your body, your legs, your core, your arms, your shoulders, even down to the strength of your feet. Beautiful. All right, we are going to meet down. Actually, one more thing. We're still going to be standing. We have time. We're going to do this. So this is where I have my wall. If you have a wall near you, you might want to use it. We're going to come into a balance pose. If you don't have a wall, that's okay. There's lots of ways to do this. So our mountain had a strong foundation. And that's how we like to plan. But what happens when our foundation is shaken? What happens when we plan, but then life happens? So I want you to once again, come to the center of your mat here. And once again, find your feet hip width distance apart in mountain pose. But this time I want you to bring awareness to the left side of your body and come into just a lean to that left part of your body, which allows your right foot just to lift up very slightly off of the mat. See if you can lift your foot almost all the way up and maybe just your big toe is touching and come back into your mountain. Okay, we're going to take the other side. So bring your awareness and eventually your body weight over to the right side. Lean a little bit, keeping the hay of your hips square as opposed to wonkaroo, okay? So you're going to bring that weight of your body to your right leg and just see if you can balance just with the big toe off the mat. Beautiful. Hands can be in your hips. Hands can be in prayer. Hands can just be like doing whatever. Okay, beautiful. Now, you can shake out. And now, once again, find your mountain. And this time, we're going to bring ourselves up into an Eitz Chaim, into a tree of life, aka a Torah. Here we go. So, grounding into both feet. And first, just feeling this solid foundation. Bring activity and action into those fingertips. The vav of your spine is long and straight and strong. Now, very gently, bring the weight of your body onto your left side. And you can even do what we just did, which is experiment with balance and bring just your big toe And if it's part of your practice, maybe make a little kickstand. Okay, so take your right leg and place the heel on the ankle or above the ankle of your left. And this is one way, one expression of tree. You can bring your knee, you can bring your ankle just like this in a kickstand. You can place it below the knee, or if it's in your practice, above the knee to come into a balance pose. Now, when we balance, the whole point is it's a practice. So when you fall out, not if you fall out, when you fall out, come right back in. And it helps to have a drishti, a focus point, right in front of you, maybe on the ground. So see if you can balance. Find yourself in Eitz Chaim in tree pose. And maybe you're growing some branches. Maybe they're coming up, finding the sunlight. And just breathe. And you can always use the wall. So you can, do this with the wall. Totally cool. And exhale and come out. I fell out of the tree just like everyone else. All right, great. We're going to try the other side. And bring our awareness and our weight into the right-hand side of our body. And find that balance point. Kickstand the leg. Bring it over under your knee or over, but not on the knee itself. And find your stability in this tree of life. What is this tree of life revealing to you in this moment of time? Breathing into their strength, breathing into your stability, breathing into the instability. One more breath and come on down. Beautiful. Okay, now that we have tried to be stable and unstable, we're going to meet down on our mat, on our backs, and we're going to just do a little bit of hip mobility before our final rest. And I invite you to stay, even if I'm not here, you are welcome to stay in your final Shavasana, Shabbos pose, for as long as you need. So on our backs, and just bring your knees to your chest. Hug your knees to your chest. Feels good. And if you want, place your hands on your kneecaps and just make some gentle circles either way with the knees. Relaxing the feet, relaxing the ankles, even relaxing the back, the neck. Take your circles the other way. Gives you your lower back a little massage there. And bring your feet back to the mat. And take your tuchus, take your butt and move it just a little to the left as you drop your knees to the right. You can take your arms out in kind of a goalpost formation and stretch the lower back. The closer your knees are to your torso, the more intense of a stretch this is. So if you want a less intense stretch, move the knees down. For a more intense stretch, you can move the knees up. Inhale, exhale. Find release. And on your next inhale, bring the feet back to rest on the mat. Find center with your tushy. And now we're going to move our tuchus a little bit to the right and bring our knees down to the left. And find that stretch and that twist of that spine. You don't have to do anything with your upper body except just melt. Breathe into this stretch again. For less intense, you can bring your knees down. For a more intense stretch, bring your knees up. And as you inhale, come on back to center. Reorganize your tush and your spine. Bring your hands to rest on the mat and your feet and legs to rest on the mat. Flop your toes out. Bring complete and total rest to your entire body. See if you can get a little bit heavier, a little bit more relaxed. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes and just take in the effects of this practice together. Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Shema Israel. Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Do you hear the voice of the Holy One? Adonai Echad. I hear your voice, my Holy One. I hear your voice, O Holy One. I hear your voice, O Holy One. Shema Yisrael. I hear the voice of the Holy One. I hear the voice of the Holy One. I hear your voice, my Holy One. Adonai Echad. Bringing movement to the fingers and the toes. Very carefully and slowly roll over to one side. Breathing and finding yet again seated position. Hands to our heart. Taking in our practice. Toda Rabah. Chag Sameach. May we hear what our bodies are trying to reveal to us on this Shavuot.
Yasher Koach, thank you, Hazzan Dulkin. It's been lovely to observe such a beautiful practice.
My honor and my pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the Chag, everyone.
Hey, Rabbi Sydney, I'm going to tag you out so that you can take on the next role as teacher.